Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Now, a few months back you might have seen I hopped on one of the hottest trends in pro cycling by shortening my cranks. Now, I went down from this 170mm crank down to a 165mm crank, which may not seem like a massive reduction, but as most people will know, in the world of cycling, a few millimeters here and there on a bike setup can make a hell of a difference. There's been much debate on the pros and cons of shortening cranks. There's been numerous videos, numerous articles written about it, but it doesn't seem to have done Tadej Pogačar any harm, does it? I mean, coming off that season that he's just had, why isn't everybody doing it? So, as someone who is just a little bit off Tadej's numbers, I was very interested to see what shorter cranks would do for me and whether there would be any noticeable difference to my cycling as a recreational cyclist. This is the update. If you haven't seen the previous video, it will be here. So let's go. Roll titles. So I installed the new cranks on the 20th of July this year, and since then I've been tracking 3 metrics to see whether there's been any noticeable difference in my performance. So I've tracked average watts, average cadence, and the distance of the ride. The animation that you're seeing now is the plotting of the power and the cadence data, including about a dozen rides from before the shorter cranks were installed, to give a pre and post implementation comparison. To track and analyse all of this data, I use VeloViewer, which, if you're not familiar with it, you really should check it out. It links to your Strava account and basically presents all of the data from all of your activities in a much easier to read format. You can filter by activity, you can filter by all of the different metrics, and you can export everything into a CSV file if you so wish. And as I am a spreadsheet nerd, that is the kind of thing that I very much enjoy. It gives you great visualizations of your data in the form of infographics or heat maps, but it also has great little things in it like 3D elevation profiles, so you can see climbs that you've done or climbs in routes that you've made in Strava, to see what's coming up on your rides and plan for them. It's no wonder that the top World Tour teams use VeloViewer for race preparation and briefings. It's really that good. And if you sign up to VeloViewer Pro, you can see your entire Strava history. I think if you're on the basic subscription, you can see the last 25 activities. It is only £10 a year for VeloViewer Pro, which I think is an absolute steal. So show them some love, go and check it out if you haven't already. Get involved, sign up. £10 a year, honestly, it is great. I know that really sounded like an ad, but it really wasn't. I genuinely do love VeloViewer that much. It is incredible for the money and it's an incredible platform. So yeah, check it out. Now back to me. The data itself suggests there's very little change, especially when you consider the variables of my fitness at the time, the length of the ride and the amount of elevation that those rides may have contained. For example, my ride to Eastbourne was a longer ride, so the average power and cadence over the time of that were a lot lower than, say, my usual 40-kilometre loop that I will do at a lunchtime. What it does tell us is that pre-installation, my average power was 165 watts, while post-implementation, it actually grew to 169 watts as an average power. For cadence, pre-installation was 74.8 revolutions per minute, and post-installation, it dropped slightly to 74.2 revolutions per minute. So we haven't really seen an increase in cadence or a decrease in power, which is what most people suggested would happen. I'm not really sure why that is, but part of me thinks there may be some kind of subconscious accounting for the shorter cranks in the gear selection that I've made. Maybe I was choosing a gear that would allow me to put out the same kind of numbers that I was doing previously. So from that, changing crank length hasn't impacted performance in a positive or a negative way. So that's that then. There's little point in doing it. Well, just a minute. Though I can't back this up with numbers, since shortening my cranks, I have had far less pain in my knees and my lower back. I wasn't getting pain during rides, which would suggest a poor bike fit. It was more post-ride when the bike had been put away and I'd had a shower, stretched, relaxed, and I would get an ache in those areas. But it has been noticeably different since I've had the shorter cranks. Everything on the bike has remained the same, aside from a slight adjustment in the saddle height and position to account for the smaller turning circle, which comes with a shorter crank. I've got no doubt that the decreased hip and knee flexion that comes from a smaller pedalling circle has been like a real benefit to me, and I feel more comfortable on the bike. And I also feel more stable, especially when I'm in the saddle. The last bit about being seated is especially noticeable when you're on the climbs. If you're hunched over your stem, chewing the stem as you go up a climb, and you're getting further and further down as you get into the hurt locker, you find that your knees aren't coming up to meet your torso, and therefore there's less sort of meeting, it doesn't come together, and it is noticeable that your knees and your hips aren't traveling that far. So while the numbers haven't really changed, the onboard position and comfort on the bike has made a real difference to me. So I regard shortening the cranks as a massive win. I'm not a weight weenie looking for marginal gains that are going to improve those performance numbers by 1 or 2 average watts. I'm a nearly 50-year-old man that's looking for any gains that's going to help me keep riding my bike for longer, and I really think that making this change will do that. In a sport where we're conditioned to look at numbers and data, it would be easy to dismiss my findings as changing cranks being an exercise in futility. But it's been a process that has improved my overall experience of riding my bike. And as most cyclists need reminding quite regularly, enjoyment is why we got into riding bikes in the first place. So there you have it, a little update on what shorter cranks have and haven't done for me. If you consider yourself to be in a similar situation to myself, then maybe shorter cranks are a viable option for you. They might be the answer to improve your overall cycling enjoyment and your experience on the bike. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got some use out of it. Please do drop it a like if you did. Share it with everyone. Share it with the people who always roll their eyes whenever you mention cycling. Just share it with everyone. Let me know in the comments if you've shortened your crank and how you found it. Did you see any major differences other than what I found? Or if you're thinking about doing it, let me know if you've got any questions about how, where, when, what I did. Yeah, give us a shout. Have a brilliant day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.